I am Joby Lagrange with KATC, and today I am at Crawfish Aquatics because if you haven't noticed, it's getting hot outside, and the topic is swimming safety. What can you do to be more safe and more prepared? And I am here to talk with Miss Lindsay about it. Miss Lindsay, hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me today at Crawfish Aquatics. I'm going to try not to jump in the pool mid-interview.
I am the lessons supervisor and site supervisor for Lafayette.
Amazing. So it's now almost summer, meteorological summer starts. So we're getting there. The heat's going up. Y'all do swimming lessons here.
Yes.
And do you offer them only in the summer?
I offer swim lessons year round. Our schedules are a little different during the school year than they are for summertime. During the summer, we like to do kind of intensive lessons. So everything that we offer during the summer from the end of May through the end of July is going to be Monday through Thursday for either 1 or 2 weeks. We offer group lessons, which is no more than 3 kids per instructor. And we also offer private lessons for people that need a little more attention with just one-on-one.
That's fun. So all year you can come swimming.
All year long.
So how does it help to benefit an individual to have those swimming lessons and to learn? And do you think it's a one and done process?
So it's never a one and done process. I've never had parents come to me and tell us like we have gotten too many swim lessons for our kid, or that they are too good of swimmers. The best thing to do with swim lessons is to take lessons continuously throughout the year. You always want to have lessons before you actually need lessons. So for us, we like to tell people the most important time to take lessons is before it gets warm. One of the most important reasons that you want to learn how to swim, or you want your children to learn how to swim, is so that they can be as safe as they can possibly be anytime they're near the water. And because we live where we live, there's water everywhere. Somebody's always got a pool. Somebody's always got a boat. A lot of the neighborhoods, especially the newer developments, you have ponds in your backyards. Children wander. They're curious creatures, and they are going to gravitate towards water. So you want them to be as best prepared as they can be if they find themselves in a situation that you're not with them. And then obviously you always want to know how to swim as an adult, because even if you're not swimming for your own safety, if something happens to your children, you want to be able to help them. The last thing you want to do is, find yourself in a situation where your child is in trouble, and then you have to put yourself in trouble to try to help.
That's such a good point. I know growing up, my grandmother didn't know how to swim. So when we were home with the pool that we couldn't swim with just her. What do those warning signs when a child's in a pool look like to an adult?
The portrayal of it is that it's very theatrical, that it's very noisy, that there's screaming for help before they go under, or that it's a gradual thing. The scary part about drowning is that it's usually not like that. It's usually very quiet and it's very sudden. So, it's as quiet as somebody just going underwater without making a noise or a splash, and they just don't come back up again.
That is frightening.
It's so scary.
I've heard people say, I don't know if you agree, that it's almost more dangerous when there's more people around because you assume the other person's watching. Absolutely. So that's maybe a time to be more vigilant when you're a little bit busier at a pool.
Absolutely. And the one thing we tell parents, the most dangerous thing is when everybody is watching. Because if everybody is watching, that means no one is watching. There was a situation in Lafayette that there were a lot of people around a place, and a child got into some really scary trouble. And luckily, someone knew what to do in an emergency and was able to help that child. And, our prayers go out to that family. And really any family in Lafayette that, has either had to deal with that, or, that has known someone that has dealt with that. But that's why we do what we do. We do this because we want to try to touch as many families as we can with that water safety. And the more the better you can do. And like we said, we do lessons year round. We never stop teaching because no one's ever water safe. Like, I can't say that enough to anybody. I don't care if you put your kids in lessons with us all year long. There's always something that can happen that will make your child or yourself not water safe.
Yeah, I experienced that myself. I went to a water park. I'm a great swimmer, and the waves just caught me and I ended up under people and I was stuck. It was very scary. You realize in that moment you're vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure.
Everybody is. And little kids are even more vulnerable because they don't see that danger. They see fun. They see like, oh, this is going to be great.
Exactly.
Like I can do this.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons, like, again, why we do what we do, but we always preach, we do not like puddle jumpers. We do not like life jackets. We do not like floaties, because it gives kids and parents to a certain extent a false sense of security, because eventually you're going to have to get out eventually. And when you get out, they always take off those things. And all it takes is a second of not being supervised and that kid's going to jump in. And if you have a situation where those kids jump in and it's that silent slipping under, you're not going to realize it until you finish doing what you're doing and you turn around and you're like, where are they? So it's those things. We want kids to know what their limits are. So, you know, if you're swimming with your kid, let them struggle a little bit. Like, you know, if they jump in, don't scoop them up automatically.
Give them a
let them see that this is what's going to happen if you do things like this.
Nice.
You know, you don't want to leave them under for very long, but you just enough
so they understand
to
the
realize,
reality.
like, yes, this is not, you can't do this. You cannot swim. Like, you are not a swimmer.
Right. I dealt with that. My son, he's like, I can swim. I was like, okay, show me. And just under he goes. I'm like, okay, that's not swimming. That is drowning cautiously, son. So yeah, I've just got all of these experiences myself. I see it firsthand. What is the youngest that children can start with you guys?
We start them as young as 6 months old in our crawbaby classes. It's a parent or grandma and taught class. So you have a caregiver that gets in the water. We teach all of the beginner level skills that we teach in our 2-year-old group lessons. But we break it down and make it a little more digestible so that parents and caregivers can learn how to teach their kids. So if they have access to pools outside of our pool, they can take all of those things that they've learned and present them and do them as much as they want.
It's amazing. I love what y'all are doing here for those kiddos.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to register for the classes, they see all this, they realize, yeah, this is something quite important. How do they do that?
You just go to our website, crawfishaquatics.com. You'll click lessons and then Lafayette, and then you'll see all the different programs that we have to offer. And we're also offering a CPR class. It's going to be an infant and child CPR class on June 8th. It's $15. It's open to anybody 14 and older. And we try to do one a year just because we think it's a really good thing to have in your back pocket, because you never know when it's going to happen. But it's literally something that can save a life.
Absolutely. And that's great. You get both sides of it. You get the prevention and then what happens after the fact.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me about this. Very important. Everybody wants their kiddos safe, especially here. All right. Well, thank you. That is all of our information on swimming safety for this full interview. You can go to katc.com. It will be on the web. And I'll also attach a link if you're interested, as we talked about, to register for this Crawfish Aquatics for these swimming lessons. Make it really easy for you if you're interested. And that CPR date's coming up. So that as well. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.